Oh, yep, that's working. Sweet. We are we are here for 2 weeks in a row. This never happened before. It's only written about in the ancients. Oh, what happened to the washer? I don't know. It's fine. I'll find it later. Welcome. I am never late. I am precisely. I've. Anox is never late. They arrive precisely when they needs to. Speaking of precisely when I needs to, where am I? Up there I am. Welcome, Seth, Karma, Farfella, Dodo, and All Star. Bets on me getting any work done this time? I don't know. I finished the entirety of the last chapter all in one go, although we've already hit a roadblock with this chapter. I have to remember what wispy and bold sound like. Last stream was more than enough for the entire year. You know what? You're not wrong, but you're not right either. Also, where'd my chat go? Hold on. Do I need to just do stuff again? Why does this keep happening? How do I make it fix itself? Properties. Alright. Hmm. Will this lead me anywhere? I have no idea. Alright, getting somewhere? No? Possibly? Why don't you work? This is the second week in a row. Uh, anyway, how's it going? How's it going? It's been, you know, I can't believe it's only been a week because it feels like it's been a lot longer than a week. But maybe that's just me. Uh, let's see. Add? No, I don't want to add anything. Just show my chat. Why? Why are you like this? All right. Maybe that's fixed it. I don't know. Is this something I probably should have tested before? Probably. Yes, it works. It works. Let's go. I don't know why I need to refresh it every single time I text something. Anyway, gonna try and type some now that I've got some background noise. Sound? What do you mean you have sound? Hold on. Have you not been able to hear me? It says that I'm talking. Hold on. Hold the phone. It is it really doing this to me again? Sound is okay. All right. Gosh, y'all had me worried for a second there. But yes, welcome all to stream. Just Farfella. Okay. That's good. When I first heard you talk, I said sound. I already. That was so long. How long were you sitting in silence? You missed some, not a whole lot of bits. Thankfully, that got all figured out relatively quickly. But yeah, it's been a long week. It's going to be even a longer week next week or tomorrow. Yeah. But at the very least, it's not going to be miserable. It's not going to hit 100 this week like it did last week. It's only going to hit like 87, which I'm calling an absolute win. Stream just started when I remembered to switch to Chrome. Ew, Chrome. Nah, have to put in. I have to defend my nerdom by immediately saying, "Oh, why Chrome?" Nah, I'm just kidding. Only way to get truffle on Linux? Oh, fair enough. I went looking at it to research it more off stream, and apparently they're working on their own browser for streamers. And I tried to use the beta, and it just crashes every single time you open it. So I'm like, so it's that kind of beta. And then I just didn't touch it again. Fun question time. Idle meets Scooby Doo gang. What does he think of them? Ooh, what does he think of the Scooby Doo gang? I think he would appreciate their efforts, but then reprimand them saying, let law enforcement handle this, or to get or if they're going to continue doing their ghost hunting business to get the proper licensing. Hey, now, I remember when running Chrome was the nerdy thing. Well, no, Firefox was always the one that's the nerdy thing. It was the one that wasn't Internet Explorer. And Chrome was only the nerdy thing because you had to have like 12 terabytes of RAM in order to run it back in the early days. Oh, that's annoying. How long ago was that? That was last week. Like I poked around with it a little bit after stream, and it would open up just fine and say, "Oh, log in to get start," or no, just like get started, and we'll like go through all the settings for you. And then it would just show a transparent pane, and then never show me how to set up the browser itself. So I'm like, I tried it like 3 or 4 more times. Nothing ever happened. So I'm like, okay, it's brokey. I'm going to put that over there and wait for it to get fixed, possibly, if I don't forget about it first. I gotta tell everyone else. Hold on. I almost forgot to tell everyone else. Hold on. Yeah. Leave stream. We're here. Continuing. And no, I cannot talk and type at the same time. My brain is all or nothing, as you can tell by how little I usually record during these streams. What's bad about Internet Explorer is that even Internet Explorer makers admitted it sucked. Hey, it was like the best you could do way back when, but it was very much a hodgepodge. But yeah, the nerdy thing became Firefox, then Chrome, then Opera, and now it's back to Firefox because everything is running Chrome under the hood, including Edge. Netscape. I never had Netscape. The first computer my family ever owned, if I'm remembering right, was back in 2004, 2005, thereabouts. And it was an old Macintosh. It was my no, the Mac came later. Must have. Because the Mac was my uncle's old Mac that he gave to us because we didn't have a computer and he had just gotten a new one. So he was like, "Hey, do you want my old one?" And we did. And it worked great. Ran Snow Leopard just fine. Nothing past Snow Leopard, but it worked just fine. And that was my first computer up until I graduated high school. And then I finally got a better one. I finally got a computer, a proper computer, tail end of 2016. Built it myself. It's now currently my server, still running the same OG hardware in it of the ripping fast uh, a seven. What was it, a 750? Yeah, 750 Ti. that was what that was what most of my streams have been on. When I first started streaming, it was on that computer up until about 2 years ago, where I switched to this laptop. So yeah, I am very slow to upgrade, but when I do, it's market improvements. I use Edge and I have no issue with it. Honestly, Edge isn't too bad. The only reason I know of Edge at all is because when I worked for the government, they would only let you use Edge. And it wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst either. It was just about as useful as any other web browser because all I needed to do was open web pages and nothing else, except for maybe a PDF reader because Adobe Acrobat never worked on those things. Old Windows 3.0 till she. Oh my gosh. Does anyone remember being a young kid playing Oregon Trail on Flappy? Are you saying Flappy or Floppy? That was my first discrete GPU. That was mine as well. I mean, this week because next week is my birthday. Happy early birthday! Only beat the game. It cost me everything. I never. Uh, so here's my family's computer things is that technically my family did own a computer prior to that, but only my dad had it because he was the one using it for work because he was a electrician, so he needed it to work the books. No one else was allowed to touch it. He kept it in his basement office, and that's what happened to it. I eventually inherited that back in the sixth or seventh grade. It was also an old Macintosh, and it had a fun quirk with it where it if you started it, it didn't always get to the login screen. So you sometimes had to restart it 3 or 4 times, then it would let you into the computer. I have no idea why that was ever the case. Very big, thick, chunky outlines, the little hourglass loading screen. And I remember he also had a custom screensaver for it that was the Fantasia that was Fantasia themed. So it was Mickey Mouse doing everything, the waves rising, and then the wizard would come in and like cause all the water to go down, and that was our screensaver. That was fun. If you remember Oregon Trail, try playing Death Road to Canada. It's basically the Oregon Trail with zombies. Ooh, that does sound pretty fun. Yeah, I personally never played the Oregon Trail or used a floppy disk. I didn't become interested in technology until a long time later. I was very content with my books. I was that kind of nerd, not the computer nerd, just I really liked reading. Probably because I was the youngest of seven and my brothers would hog the consoles or the computer and I was just left with the books. Now I have all the tech wizardry. Can't afford most of the tech wizardry, but I can do it. I could do it if I ever had it. All those reading is great. Like we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for reading in general. So the computers had the large drives for them. Gosh, yeah. I never I know we had floppy disks in the house. I have no idea what they were used for. I don't even think the computer even took floppy disks. We just still had floppy disks. No idea at all. I had a bunch of hand-me-down computers that were all pretty old even for the time. The first new PC was Pentium 4 Max the RAM. I have all the How to Train Your Dragon books. They made books? Gosh, I really am behind on the times. I should have guessed that any franchise has a book series out about it now. Because, I mean, if FNAF and Hello Neighbor can have its own book series, then why not How to Train Your Dragon? Which, I still need to watch How to Train Your Dragon 3. Because I guess there's a new How to Train Your Dragon. I have no idea, though. The movies were based on the books? Oh my gosh. So, you saying that reminds me uh of the first video game movie I ever watched, which was Prince of Persia. I had no idea Prince of Persia was a video game, so I just watched the movie with zero expectations. I'm, oh, this is very interesting. Don't remember most of what happened in Prince of Persia, but then and it wasn't until like over a decade later that someone's like, "Oh yeah, the Prince of Persia video game," and I'm like, "Oh, they made a video game based on the movie," and they looked horrified that I would even suggest such a thing. Like, although honestly, that's most of the reactions I get because I have no video game knowledge whatsoever. Being rebooted in live action. I heard about that. I did hear about being in live action, which I remember a long time ago where being a movie was like something getting translated to being a movie was like top tier. Like, oh, I can't wait for this to be turned into a movie. And now I kind of look at movies like I really wish it they just stayed away from my beloved formats half the time because the silver screen doesn't really have as much of a pull as it used to, especially I think this sentiment especially rose up after the Shyamalan Avatar series or Avatar movie of just like they butchered our boys. Now it's all trash. True. But the only thing I can think of, like, there's been good video game adaptations in more recent years. I think that's mostly due to nerds growing up wanting to adapt their favorite video game or movie. They're like, we're going to do everything in our power to make it not suck. And, like, for example, and like I can see the appeal of getting things onto the silver screen nowadays because it makes for wide appeal. It brings everything into the forefront because everything on YouTube is still niche as far as the general populace goes. Like, oh, this game is so good, and it still might be considered niche because you know, it's in the gaming community and it's really only popular in a few handful spaces. For example, the FNAF movie. I never played the games, but I watch people play them, the whole series. And I love the games, love the lore of the games, and but no one else in my immediate circle knew anything about FNAF. They didn't even know what FNAF stood for. And I'm like, oh no. And then the FNAF movie came out, and some of my siblings were like, that's such a cheesy 80s horror movie and whatnot. But now it's bringing it to a wider audience. And since it didn't suck, it's just in order to really get it, you'd have to know the lore. Well, you don't have to get it, but to get into the deeper themes, it'd be better for you to know about where they're taking it. Well, it was a good movie. Not the best movie of all time, but just pretty good, all things considered. I love the Silver Eyes books. I never read the Silver Eyes books. I've always wanted to, and I don't know why. I tried downloading like the Kindle version. It only allowed me to download like the first chapter because I was like the demo version, and then I could not find a setting to get the rest of the book online. I could probably do it now, no problem, but back then I was completely stumped. Like Pirates of the Caribbean is also based on books. Man, everything's just based on books, isn't it? He used to work for the East Asia Trading Company. Looked into Carnival. Oh, oh, okay. Yeah, that makes much more sense for Jack's character. I used to be in FNAF lore, but the current meta is too complicated. I like the movie though. The current FNAF meta is pretty complicated, but I think Steel Wool's doing a good thing to like simplify it a little bit. It's still pretty obtuse, but they're trying to help compact it by doing a semi-soft reboot of the series and then continuing on. They're clearing up the timeline. The hilarious thing about FNAF is that it is not really meant for kids, yet the characters are popular for kids. Oh man. I don't like the guy behind, which put me off a little. That's fair. Fair enough. But with what was it? I had a couple of points where I was like I didn't get into it until way later on, like a year or so afterwards, because I was like, because I didn't really watch video game compilations that much. This was way before I watched Let's Players. And then Game Theory came out with a video on it, and I'm like, all right, I'll give it a try, and that's what got me into it. And it's just been an interesting series to watch it evolve throughout the years, but I can definitely see why people wouldn't necessarily be uh, into it just from the current lore purposes. But the games are still pretty decent, especially this newest one, Secret of the Mimic, and how it relates into everything else. What's on anything? Hold on. I forgot to close my recording curtains. Oh no. There we go. Go back. My computer turned off for half a second and I was worried. Nope, just jiggled the cord too much. All right, I am back. The R-rated movie? I don't know what you're talking about. Is it something like Karma said and then retracted? I don't know. But yeah, I'm not much for video games, but lore, that's the good stuff. There's the story that games and books can tell, especially getting into the heads of characters is the reason why I love books so much. But like there's too many books nowadays that don't intrigue me as much. The series I recently fell in love with, and I'm listening to it currently at work, is called Dungeon Crawler Carl. Gosh, that's so funny. It's a pretty meta story, but it kind of has to be at the same time in order to not make it a complete depressing horror fest. So it doesn't really take itself too seriously, and it's all kind of like, what if the earth was turned into a dungeon crawler? Whoever survives, you get the world. I decided to try and get back to Dragon Ball Z, so I bought the Dragon Ball manga box set to get started. Did it come in like a briefcase, or did you have to have multiple moving trucks? Oh, but yeah, and I actually remember. So back to FNAF real quick, and how it like just sparked in popularity. I was watching this video yesterday about. Actually, no, it was Game Theory. Game Theory recently put out a thing about how FNAF accidentally positioned itself into a perfect place where YouTubers were trying to find something ad friendly to not get demonetized. And FNAF released, and it's not gory, but it's still a horror game. So it was ad friendly, but everyone had the teeth to get everyone interested in it. So then that just spiraled out of control now. Not hang around, but I want to love your work. Thank you, Zatari. Welcome and have a good day. Kids get into adult stuff way too often for their own good. Yep, 100%, 100% agree with you. But in Japan, they can't. Oh, as it's only actually 16 volumes. But in Japan, they count Dragon Ball as all of Z as well, making 42 volume run. Gosh, 42 books. Although, depending on how much longer the first, depending on how much longer Changing of the Guard runs, we might have to pull if we ever wanted to get it published or printed as a book. We might have to either go the route of follow the Equestria and print it on Bible paper, or get it printed in multiple volumes. And the perfect split point for the sequel would have been before they moved to the Crystal Empire. Now it's too late. Talks of Emperor, RoboCop, Rambo, Conan, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Uh, yeah, especially the more '80s you go, uh, the more kids were, the more that was the case. Like I think I even remember Tremors having its own toy line. I could be mistaken though. But like also GI Joe too. Then you have we're trying to dub animes that were not meant for kids into English. I'm looking at One Piece here. Gosh, One Piece. Every time I hear One Piece or JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, people are like, "Oh, you gotta watch this," and I'm like, I don't have 30 years to throw at this. Printing Changeling of Guard will be longer because Drake accidentally let me read part of the sequel and had to delete it, avoid spoilers. So we're back to square one. That's why there's no new chapter. Ah, good, there's no new chapter, because then I can catch up. Yeah, that was the original plan, was for me to do these streams and put out videos with enough consistency that I would catch up, do other side projects, and then do a live reading of the chapter the weekend it released, so that way I could just keep on top of it. Yeah, that's worked out. Fantastic. Yeah, no, nothing went wrong with that plan at all. Just been super busy. I mean, that's fair. Summer's the busy period for me as well. Which is why I'm surprised I'm able to record more during this. Why I'm able to record more? No idea. And by recording more, I mean not waiting another 4 months before putting out another live stream. Suddenly I wonder what Idol would think of Jack Sparrow. Ooh, now that's a good one because Jack Sparrow is wholly a morally gray character, but still a good person. So I think from a legal standpoint, Idol uh, wouldn't like him too much. But seeing the heart of gold underneath it, he would probably try and, if not help Jack, try and make it so that what Jack was doing was somewhat above board, but still played into the value. Possibly. I don't know. Either or it could be he goes the total Will Turner route of uh, goody shoes always will be goody two shoes, to then dragged into the morally gray world and comes out as a good person but understands the perspectives of the world. I just realized I haven't recorded my my 5 seconds of silence yet. Hold on. Uh, a moment of silence for I don't know. What are we having a moment of silence for today? The death of the distraction. Who knows? You might be able to distract me even further today. You may not. I mean, you have a good opportunity here to distract me because I still have to find out what Wispy and Bolt sound like. All right. Yes, I got my for those poor saps at work. Oh, how could I forget the moment of silence for the poor saps at work? Oh, I shouldn't say that because I was a poor sap at work. Nope. Funny enough, never had to work a Sunday. The other days of the weekend, always, always. Oh, hold on, I forgot to mute Discord. Hold on. Why do they have a timer on Do Not Disturb mode? Just have it automatically set for not a day, just have it set for forever or off. I hate all these options when the last thing it did was so simple of just set it for it, and if I want to change the timing for it, I'll let you know. Idle getting dragged, kicking and screaming into the understanding the nuisance of people breaking the law for good reason sounds very on brand for him. Yep, yeah, that is 100% so very idle coded. Nuance, nuance. So, oh, so I have some news for all y'all. I'm I have been invited to be a part of a massive to be a part of a community doing a massive group project. I won't tell you my role in this group project, but I was curious about some of your feedback. Uh, so, to reveal what community I'm being brought into is the Rift Cafe. Mostly because I know some of the people running the Rift Cafe. I'm actually having lunch with Looney later today, but so the hell is that? So the Rift Cafe, it was started by some of the Brony analysis community for an in-universe reason for collabs, and uh, it's kind of just spiraled from there. They keep on doing stuff. One of the projects you might know them the best for is them doing Terror Time again, but it's Nightmare Night again. I'll post a link to the video in chat. Like, they redid the whole song, had it animated by Crown Prince and everything. 'Cause it's Nightmare Night again. We got you running for your life. It's Nightmare Night again. 'Cause it never ending strife, it's horrifying fright. Let's see. But yeah, they're the ones that commissioned this. And they're kind of not doing a reboot. Jack would be annoyed by Jack because Jack constantly skirts the law. He's dancing. He's river dancing on that line. Let's be honest. Uh, so what they're doing is that the Rift has been kind of not stagnating, but they've definitely slowed down a ton from their initial popularity all those years ago back in the early Brony community. Best line in Scooby Doo Zombie Island. The zombies are the good guys. Oh, 100%. Every time he steps out of line, I will be duty bound to stop him. And, and even funnier is that Jack would say something about a loophole in the law, and Idol would just grind his teeth at us like that might be the letter of the law, but that's certainly not the spirit of it. At least in the beginning, and then at the end, it's like they're more like guidelines than actual rules. So, so yeah, the project that I'm involved in is to kind of it would just kind of be to kick off a little story arc that they're doing right now. So, I was wondering, how would you feel about me posting those videos that I'm doing as part of my character arc to this channel? It's not going to be my usual content. It should be, from what I figured out, it's more foreshadowing as well as like maybe a new series. This definitely won't replace Changing of the Guard, absolutely not. But I'm curious your thoughts of I'll have to uninstall YouTube. But like, for example, one would be like, I haven't decided an official name for the series, but it'd be something along the lines of it being called like Domino Effect or something, a deeper dive into world building, where I would just canonically, my character would be looking through the multiverse and find out what one change in that universe caused it to evolve into such a different space than what we know it. For example, one video that I've been having rattle around my head for about 5 years now is the idea of what if horses actually were the sapient species? How would that change? How would that change the landscape of that world building? Because while MLP does a good job, they still have to make it look relatable to humans. So they couldn't change too much. That's why, there's still doorknobs and stairs and the like. Is it like a Dr. Wolf thing? Kind of. He is technically part of it. Dr. Wolf, Lightning Bliss, like whenever they're in that hallway of doors, that's the Rift Cafe. This massive change came about because X character was 5 minutes late to the lunch. But like, for example, Horse World, and would be like, what changes would that create as a society of like, well, uh, as a species that naturally roam, they would probably either set up. Initially, they would be more nomadic than anything else, but if they ever did establish towns, it'd be more widespread to just so it feels like you're wandering from one end of town to the other rather than being very compact. And maybe you might have a second floor to but it would have require a ramp to get up the side because horses don't really like stairs in general. And just like smaller things like that to even bigger social norms of no one would have like uh, a like not a bathroom, but no one would have like a shower and tub in their homes. It would all be in like a it would all be like communal because being part of a herd is a very communal activity, including like social grooming and whatnot. And like that would just definitely change the shape of the town, shape of the world in general. And I would have to write down more concise thoughts about this. But that's an example of like what one episode would go into. So they'll all be roaming herds or warlords fighting over things to stave off boredom. Not necessarily. Like if they, like think of it as like I'm looking at a world in like a more modern sense. Like, oh, what would the 21st century look like if horses became the dominant species rather than humans? So I it would also take a look at uh, the architecture, how it came to be about, and things like that. Deeper dives into the mechanics behind why this would exist in this version of the world. Like even things like doors might not even exist in it for horses because why would they need to lock things? Maybe they might eventually get things to lock, but their doorknobs would look completely different than ours as well. I haven't thought what their doorknobs might look like, but it's something to think about. And this kind of got kickstarted off by Baron Engel. He's the one that did the artwork, the amazing artwork for the Roan RPG. He also does an Equestria Dreamscape where he lucid dreams, where he's an avid lucid dreamer and he's been drawing his subconscious travels in his lucid dreams uh, for years now, and he has an MLP Dreamscape going on. And in that MLP Dreamscape, he actually goes into the mechanics of how would how would a lighter look like for horses? Like how would these like every common everyday things change to accommodate hooves? Equinox is describing this project he's going to be a part of. I compared it to Dr. Wolf, but instead Equinox's character will be the cartoon talking. I mean, a doorknob is pretty weird for hooves, but a door handle is probably pretty universal. Like, that might be true. Or they could go the Viking route where it's not so much a handle, it's just nothing clicks into place to secure the door. It just rests against the frame, and if you want to lock it, you have to bar it from the other side. Maybe in, and maybe that's how they do it in like smaller towns where people don't necessarily worry about locking their doors at night. If you were in a more modern city or it in a more urban area, which would be few and far between, just because horses wouldn't want to be cramped. It's against their natural instincts to be in such a confined area to begin with. Maybe handles would be more useful at those points of times, or maybe something akin to uh, a pressure plate or a lever on one side of the door to pull, and that would unlock the door rather than it being small hardware on the door itself. Like these, it's just these kinds of thoughts that I've always been interested in the mechanics behind things. But now this might be an outlet for me to actually find things. Although now I have to think about other concepts other than horse world. So I'll get back to you on if I ever think of something other than but horses. Also, I just realized my microphone doesn't have its thing on it. Found it. I don't know when that fell off, but it did, and I'm mad because it falls off all the time, and I don't know why. Because it sits upright all the time. But yeah, it would kind of be Dr. Wolf, but with me talking, and it would be intercut with like artist renditions of what I'm talking about. But I might even use this PNG tuber that I have to talk and maybe actually give it other emotions other than talking and silence. Pull the lever, idol! Wrong lever! Why do we even have that lever? I need to watch Emperor's New Groove again. It's such a good movie. But yeah, like I think the biggest part of a horse's world would include that they absolutely are terrified of confined spaces. So the spaces that they do build would be as least confining as possible. Humans, we have a slight agoraphobia and claustrophobia because we don't want to be trapped, but we also want somewhere to hide. Horses are somewhat similar, but they have much less agoraphobia because they can outrun what they need to. Now we all know talking and silence are the only true emotions from which all others form. That's true, but you want the nuances of other forms. Man, it would be funny if it was just in this talk show setup as well. But yeah, I won't spoil too much about what the project's going on, but I will say that it does involve a library and one of my characters being considered a snuffleupagus for the entire time. Heresy? No, no heresy either. Says the person that can't even emote the talking emoji. Upvote him! Upvote him! I know he's not pensive, but someone needs to be upvoted. Someone needs to be ascended in this stream. Now I have to redo my moment of silence because now my mic's changed. Ugh. Moment of silence for the people that have to work today. May they rest and sleep for like 3 hours. Which is 3 hours more than what they would normally get. Oh, people are messaging me? Yeah, doesn't look like it. But yeah, that's the new project, and I've been hemming and hawing over it for a few days of whether or not I should start up a second channel just for this project, or if it should be integrated into the main channel because it is very different from what I normally do. So I just wanted to hear what y'all's opinions were of it because I'm perfectly happy spinning off another channel, especially since it is very drastic and I don't want you to get fatigued by, oh, there's another video. Is it more changing of the art? No, it's something else. And just keep this as like an audiobook channel and then the other channel will be something else. I don't know. That's why I'm asking all y'all. Gosh, hold on. I need to distract myself and try and find out where I would have heard Wispy speak last. Would have been during. Oh, I know. Ow. Hold on. Last time we heard Wispy speak was when Bold and Wispy got engaged. Hold on. My memory is coming back to me now. It would have been during "You bastard." One of my favorite line reads in the whole story. It's easier to just make a playlist. Yeah, I can definitely do that. Uh, where's Changeling? There. Am I opening up another instance? I didn't need to do that. Oh, I can open up multiple instances of this book? I'm not questioning it. I'm not going to question it. All right, where is you bastard? How do you spell you bastard? You bast. Come on. Yeah. Oh, it's Ard, not ERD. Okay, that makes much more sense. you you bays. Moonshine down on me. Now I got it. I'm homing in. Nope, there's no E. It is specifically Bastard. Is that the proper spelling? It's probably not. But if it's not the proper spelling, then that's on V. uh, let's see. Come on. Big money, no whammies. Give me moonshine down on me. Where is it? Oh. You bastards, not until after this chapter. I forgot. No, it's in cold brew. No. Oh, no. Dang it. Hold on. Wispy, when did you show up in this book? I need your voice. Uh. Cyberstan. Unloading Call of Duty. Probably during Call of Duty. Um, nope, Bard at the Moon. There we go. Yeah, yeah. As you, I was reproducing your interesting pronunciation. Well, I can't remember what wispy sounds like, so how can I? So I'm making up a voice on the spot, which is why I'm here, is to make more voices. Cold brew. It's not. Oh, okay. Nope, it wouldn't be in cold brew. Um, nope, that encore is not that one. Nope. Okay, yes, it is Bard at the Moon. Hold on, where is Bard? Bard, give me, give now. I I want my Bard.
Chapter 41 Bard at the Moon.
There we go. Okay, where is it in this chapter? Um. Okay, so they Princess Luna, then scene gap, and then it's immediate. Okay, so probably right around. I really need to make a file with all these. And I made it Spanish.
Tension. I suppose having so many seeking to court could be a heating experience. None of us had the heart to tell her that her sister had received such courting. Why, Your Highness, but you can! It caught my drink, giving him a brief scowl. Well, then, explain what's going on here, because honestly, I'm starting to wonder if it walks like a duck. Actually, I can answer that, sir. I cut in. Bolt's first arrest involved a unique circumstance. I fear she may have misinterpreted it as heavy flirtation. Excuse me? Wispy barked.
Oh, did I really give Wispy a similar voice to Topaz? Why would I do that to myself?
I hesitated. Were she and Bolt dating again? Still? Or was this another break? It was a weekday, the second week of the month, and it was after the summer sun celebration. Yes, not together.
Okay, hold on.
Tack sighed, pushing Stu with a telekinetic. The princess, quite overwhelmed, nodded eagerly. You have it then. Now, about the box, there's a few things we need to mention.
Okay, hold on.
Very delicate, complicated insides you can't imagine. 1 in a million precision work. Can't be left in the light. Asshole. I'm just saying, it doesn't make sense. She pays her fines, she apologizes to Stornos, she even helps replace the stools after the bar fight. She's a good chick. Why does she keep breaking the law? Bolt complained, aggravated. Right, you keep saying that.
All right, so okay, I gave Bull a southern drawl. Ah. Okay, hold on. So Bold has a southern drawl. I'm just saying it don't make sense.
Asshole. I'm just saying, it doesn't make sense. She pays her fines,
She pays a fine. All right, I think I found Bold. Sounds little bit like this if I'm hearing myself right. And let's see, do we have more lines for Wispy? Okay, hold on. I'm almost done. I'm almost done.
yesterday, which was a full 2 days earlier than they usually got back together officially. Something to ponder, I suppose. Courtship rituals between Pegasi and Earth ponies are beyond strange. Cadence had declared she would accept no more bets for the two of them because they were exclusive. Enjoy physical displays of prowess as courting, beginning to tap a sharp beat. Have a care, bold. Either way, I'm not sure you should be egging her on.
Either way, oh, okay, so not similar to not similar to Topaz. Okay. Either way, I'm not sure you should be egging her on. If Bold were egging her on, I believe that would be a hate crime. So many good lines in this story. Uh, let's assume Idle played a spot or got dragged. Oh, a sport. What sport would Idle play? Honestly, I think he would get accidentally dragged into buckball, and he would have be the one that like has to carry the bucket around. Are there many other pony sports? Him getting accidentally, yeah, it'd be even better. He accidentally gets dragged into buckball, is a star player, despite him not knowing what the heck the rules are. He just knows he has to get it into the bucket. I play solitaire competitively. So, is just solitaire competitively is that you're facing off one on one against someone else, and first to complete all four suits wins. Even better is if the cards are enchanted, that as soon as the suits are completed, it does the bouncing celebration that it did back in older versions of Windows. no, if no, if he loses, he blames the cards and eats them. I do not tolerate cheaters. Oh man.
I'm into this, but I'm not. I mean, maybe, but no. Wispy cut her eyes at Bold, rear hoof beginning to tap a sharp beat. Have a care, Bold. Either way, I'm not sure you should be egging her on.
Either okay, so either way, I'm not sure you should be egging her on. Alright, so that's where her voice is. Oh, that sounds so similar to another person's voice. I know Equestria has bowling. Oh, that's true. He could get accidentally caught up in bowling. I know. I also know they have golf and not cricket. They have the what's the one where you're with the mallet and you have to hit the balls through all the gates or through all the rings. Crochet. No, croquette. Crochet is a different thing. If there's a better way to pronounce croquette. Yeah, that's the one. I know it's actually pronounced very differently, but the only word that comes to mind is crochet, and that's definitely not the right word. Enjoy myself listening to Equinox glaze himself by having us listen to his past work. Gosh, it's just because I can't. I have the memory of a goldfish when it comes to remembering what voice I used for this character. I am in uniform. No, you're not. You're just wearing. I'm wearing my Crocs. Croquet. That's how it's okay. All right. I'll be honest. I've yep croquet. That now that you say that, it sparks memory in my mind. But I'll be honest. Half the town names in my state would confuse the lot of you too. So I better not see someone be like, "I'm renaming him to croquet because he doesn't know how to pronounce it." So before you post something that like that, I implore you to try and pronounce. Uh, let's see. I implore you to try and pronounce this town name correctly. If you can, you get a cookie. Or if you want a much easier one, try try this one on for size. That one's the much easier one to pronounce. That's I feel like yeah, the best chance into something that he could rationalize as relating to other his dude to an anime cut where he winds up getting dragged, playing a TCG only to wind up playing a match against Luna. Gosh, even better is that Idol would try and throw the game so Luna would win, but he doesn't know the game enough to throw, so he accidentally ends up winning. Yeah, no, I'm not even going to pretend to know how to pronounce that one. It just looks like someone took a dartboard at the alphabet. I read a story like that, except they were inspiration for a romance book. Yeah, that's true. Honestly, the best shipping is friend shipping, right? Either okay, I so wispy sounds like this. Well, less southern drawl because that I think that I reserved that specifically for someone else. So she sounds. Uh, let's see. Either way, I'm not sure. I'm not sure you should be egging her on. So it's more like this, whereas bold just drops down a couple octaves and sounds smooth as butter. I remembered it wrong too. All right, everyone, get your last guesses for how to pronounce those two town names. I especially would love to hear people try and pronounce the second one because literally no one gets the second one correct. And it's a shame because it's the place where FNAF takes place. So every time I hear it, I'm like, you're pronouncing a city in my state wrong. Yeah, it's such an easy pronounce. uh, no, you're you're going to have. Oh man, so I'll give y'all 5 more minutes. Karma's got it. Hurricane. Hurricane is the proper pronunciation of that city name. Is Hurricane, Utah. Not Hurricane, Utah. It's Hurricane. And you can actually look up the wiki page for it, and the town got its name because it's kind of making fun of the drawl, the accent of the people that first settled there. So it's just kind of stuck. But yeah, it's officially Hurricane. If it's the town, it's Hurricane. If it's the storm, it's Hurricane. That's it's hey, that's why I said it's the easy mode. It's also one that people most likely might have heard because there are some FNAF YouTubers that pronounce the name right. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, I'm like, they said it right! Yay! Oh gosh. So I know it's not Tucson because that's how it's pronounced in Spain? Is Tucson Spain? I can't remember. Oh, it is Tucson. Yeah, I know Tucson. Uh, so, uh, I'll so Only one person guessed. So it's not Tool. How you pronounce that town name is Tooele. Don't know how they got the extra W in there, but that's how it's pronounced as Tooele. Most say it's Tuscan. Tuscan? Gosh. Uh, but no, Tooele is the one that catches most people flat footed. Just because it doesn't look like I've heard most people say Thule? No, you can definitely tell that that's an out of towner right there. That's kind of a way if you know if you live here or not. 100%. Not the oddest names you heard. That's true. We have a bunch of odder names, not because of the pronunciation, but just because why would you name a town like that? Like, such as Blanding. Was it that bland that you're like, we can't think of another word for this town? It's so bland. Blanding? Bland landing? All right, that works. That works right there. Or even better, Mexican Hat. There's literally a town in here called Mexican Hat. And I'm not, and I would love to hear the story behind it because why? For the Nagandas? Probably not correct, but I'm throwing that looks like a German word. Nakadochas. Nakadocha? Nakadochus. I'll have to look up that pronunciation later. It's funny. Imagine living in a town named Diaperville. I'm I mean 100%, but there are plenty of communities that would probably love living in a town called Diaperville, but then completely misunderstood what the town's actually named for. I mean, there is a town called Asbestos as well. Big tourist attraction because everyone's curious why the heck is it named Asbestos? Oh, it's Indian. Oh, that makes much more sense. A fun fact: Utah is actually the Indian word or the Native American word for the state, uh, and that's how it's got its name. I want to live in that town called Fuck. Gosh, I the town the town called Fuck or the town called Fucking because there's two different towns like that. Look at all the beautiful fucking horses. There was a whole bit. And even better is that they put a GPS tracker and cameras on the town side of fucking to try and deter people, and that's only encouraged people more to either steal the sign or to uh, uh, or to fuck in front of the town of fucking. Oh man. Anyway, what was I doing? Oh yeah, I was doing. I was reading something like that. South Africa had an equestria. That's true. Isn't there also a town called Brony as well? I might be misremembering that as too, but fucking Austria. Yeah. Have you even started reading? Okay, look. We can have a break stream today because I read through a whole chapter last week. And none of y'all could do nothing about it. All right, so okay, here we go with Wispy in 5, 4, 3. We haven't read the title yet. God damn it! Okay, which chapter title is this now? No, it would be. What's your number? 52. 52. Remember that one time I said this? Here it is. Let's be honest, most of your streams turn into talkie streams. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, fair. It's just really fun. Uh, it's really fun having a talkie stream. But I eventually have to get back and finish these off. Because I can't have a live stream of the guard if we're not going to be live streaming the guard. Let's see. Aftermath, or no, In the Still of Night is number 52. Yeah, 52. Wait. Hold on. Gotta make sure. Gots to make sure. Nope, it's 53. It is 53. Idle meeting Kim Possible. I bet he would comment something of like, for a spy, you definitely show your face a lot. Isn't all these activities supposed to be clandestine? Why do you have your own ringtone? It's a school night, go home. All right, hold on. Let me get proper positioning on this mic. There we go. Chapter 53. In the Still of the Night. And I swear, if I find one more cloud with chewing gum. And I swear, if I find one more cloud with chewing gum in it, I'm going to go to that statue with the chisel and even out those stupid horns. He shows up and lectures her about the importance of leaving it to the proper authorities. 100%. You will do no such thing, Wispy, I corrected, plucking some of the pink gunk from my armor. I was merely thankful that it was indigestible. My schools are aware of my work and is cool with it as long as my grades don't suffer, which they haven't, except for home ec. Home ec is like, oh gosh. A bunch of my friends got into it talking about what schools should teach. And honestly, they should put more focus on home ec and like adulting in general, like how to survive outside your home, how to survive not living in your parents' home or something along those lines. Would high schoolers even care about a class like that? Probably not, but at least they had a chance to learn it before getting shoved out into the wide, wide world without knowing how to do nothing. Like, even better is like how to do, like, even something simple like how to do your taxes would be such a boon because most people just look at the instructions on a tax form and they're like, nope, not going to do it. Will not. How to survive the world without a microwave. Gosh, that's funny. Like even simple things like how to cook without like how to cook with a pan. There are so many people I know that would struggle that would struggle without being able to use a microwave or even a toaster. Uh, like most people don't even. Most people are like, we can't make toast. We don't have a toaster. And I'm just like, we have a pan. You just heat up the pan. That's not how you make toast. That's how we always made toast. It's just we made it easier to put it in the toaster. Oh man. Or just like even home ec, it could be better just due to um like how to find recipes, like how to experiment and like mix it, playing with spices, stuff like that. That should be in the curriculum, but it's not. There are some people that don't even know how to do their own laundry or how to use a dishwasher. Like, granted, if I was living by myself, I probably would never use my own dishwasher unless it was like after a heavy meal, and I'm like, I this is too many dishes for me to do in one go, or I don't feel like doing it. But for simple meals, like hand washing is perfectly fine. But people have no idea how to use a dishwasher nowadays. Hell's Kitchen, but local. Yeah, just like people not knowing how to cook is it's such a boon to everyone to know how to cook and how to ad lib cooking as well. I just toss my dark clothes in one washer and my lights in another and wash them on warm. Yeah, most people don't even separate their clothes or like know what temperature to wash clothes at because darks are supposed to be washed on cold and whites on hot and light colors on a medium heat. Like it's these simple things that I only know because I kind of had to be self sufficient fairly early. But I'm the lucky one. I'm one of the lucky ones. How did you learn to cook? I got tired of starving. Yeah, but most people like they they'll either figure it out or die trying. But most people they're like, well, I'm hungry. Let's go get some food. What's the cheapest food that we can get? And it's like uh, Taco Bell or something, or Jack in the Box. And it's like, yes, those are very cheap places to eat, but it's not good food. It tastes good, but it's not good for you. Washers in my building are like $1.25 a use. Ooh, I remember doing that. The videos of them setting their kitchen on fire. Yes, exactly. Like even knowing how to like properly cook chicken uh, how to cook chicken from frozen is such a lost skill, or like the different methods of cooking. Like it wasn't until I got tired of forgetting to defrost chicken that I looked into how to cook chicken from frozen, and a lot of people were like, poach it. I'm like, I could poach chicken? All right, I'll try that. And then I later learned that if you want to just cook chicken from frozen and have it even be safer, if you use like a pressure cooker, then you can pressure like I have an Instapot that I got from my brother because he didn't want it anymore. You can perfectly cook chicken in like 10 minutes from frozen. Like and you know I experiment with it because I love cooking. I love experimenting with cooking. But not a lot of people like it. They're just like, what's the quickest and easiest effort to get food into me right now? They don't plan to cook. They don't set up a budget because like even from a very young age, my family would sit down and be like, okay, you're cooking uh, this day of the week. Let us know what you want to cook so we can make sure we have the ingredients for that. And it has to be done by this day in order for us to go to the store and get that. I need this fish not to stick to the pan, so instead of using a non-stick pan, I'll use something else. Yeah, or even like hidden like secret tips like, oh, to better cook a fish and make sure it doesn't stick, like dry the like dry out like the skin of it if you're cooking with skin. I don't cook with fish too often, so I don't know too many of those tips and tricks for it. But like how much elevated a dish can be just by seasoning. Like I make my own chicken pot pie from scratch, and I use like I homemade the cream of mushroom soup. I do everything, but I most importantly I just I put flavors in at all times of the process. Cooking the potatoes and carrots, I put in it in chicken stock and and garlic and ginger, and it turns out so good every single time. Garlic and ginger is kind of like some of my favorite flavors, honestly. But yeah, oh gosh, I remember having to pay for a washer. It was so rough. I remember, I think in my building when I had it, it was like 250 for a washer and like $3 for a dryer. It was ridiculous. For me, I enjoy cooking for special one-off things, but if I try and make my own thing every day of the week, I would burn out real quick. But like that's also the thing is that uh part of cooking is like adjusting like how tired you would be uh depending on the day of the week. Like even just simple things like meal prepping, people should know how to do is like, oh, I can just do quick easy meal preps like on Sunday, get all my cooking done for the entire week, and then I would only really cook to either spice up what I've already made, or uh, or or something else, rather than just being like, well, I have to cook for like a half an hour in order to get some food. It's like, nope, food's ready, just need to reheat it. We've got plain or with ketchup, but we're out of ketchup. Ah, man, yeah, 100%. Or like portion control for food as well. Because the biggest issue that I've been running into is that since I came from a big family, I only know how to cook in big family portions rather than the one or two portions that's just needed for me. So that's been tricky and a half to try and pare down all those instincts I've built up since my childhood. Like I don't need 5 pounds of mashed potatoes. I can get away with 1 pound of mashed potatoes for this particular dish. Oh right, reading. You will do no such thing, Wispy, I corrected, plucking some of the pink gunk from my armor. I was merely thankful that the indigestible substance did not cling to me as thoroughly as it would to a creature without the benefit of magical faux fur. I keep forgetting that that's pronounced faux, not fox. I corrected, plucking some of the pink gunk from my armor. I was merely thankful that the indigestible substance did not cling to me as thoroughly as it would to a creature without the benefit of magical faux fur. Wispy, on the other hoof, was part of the crews assisting with removing the remaining pink clouds from Canterlot. Most, of course. Ah, dang it. This is a long paragraph. Confirmed Drake is trying to kill me by inputting long paragraphs at the very beginning of chapters. Also, should I bring back the bell? Because we have a non-horse word. We have a non-horse word in this horse word book. Ah, it's been a long time since we heard a ding. I'd have to try and see if I have that sound file anywhere. Now I'm curious. Yes, a ding. Oh man, now I need to see if I have that hidden anywhere. Oh, that it would be so hidden though. I wouldn't even know where to start looking. Um, come on. Ding dang. Ding ding ding. Sounds like I need to be more organized. I'm trying. The only part of this computer that's fully organized is the art folder, and that's about it. That's all that I had time to. I spent 3 days organizing my art folder because it just took that long. Because not that I had that many art pieces, but trying to figure out what to do and then implementing it and then trying to fix all the things. Gosh, that took forever. I corrected, plucking some of the pink gunk from my armor. I was merely thankful that the indigestible substance did not cling to me as thoroughly as it would to a creature without the benefit of magical faux fur. Wispy, on the other hoof, was part of the crew that Wispy, on the other hoof, was part of the crew's assisting. Gosh, that's really rough. Organized art folder for reasons. Got it. It's it's my personal art. It's the art that I've drawn, all of which you can find online. There's nothing of that sort in that folder. And I've even shown you everything in that folder uh, on stream when I was searching for through my while I was showing all y'all my plushie collection. You saw the entirety of that art folder. Wispy on the other hoof. Wispy on the other hoof was part of the crews assisting with removing the remaining pink clouds from Canterlot. Most, of course, had been cotton tandy. You mean when you're? I don't know what you're implying there. Not at all. Wispy, on the other hoof, was part of the crews assisting with removing the remaining pink clouds from Canterlot. Most, of course, had been cotton candy, and I allowed myself a moment of jealousy. A rare few, however, what Bold had classified as basically a. All right. A rare few, however. Oh, I thought that was a period. Okay. Wispy, on the other hoof, was part of the crews assisting with removing the remaining pink clouds from Canterlot. Most of. Gosh, my nose did something weird there. Wispy, on the other hoof, was part of the. Wispy, on the other hoof, was part of the crews assisting with removing the remaining pink clouds from Canterlot. Most, of course, had been cotton candy, and I allowed myself a moment of jealousy. A rare few, however, were what Bold had classified as basically ABC gum. Essentially, anything Discord summoned purely by power alone vanished when he did. Anything he adjusted manually, however, simply returned it to the non-magical state it was in. Nothing of that sort yet. I assume this is the aftermath of Discord. Yes, this is the aftermath of Discord. And no, there's not no such of that stuff appearing in my art folder for one reason and one reason alone. Well, unless I got paid. And even then, no one would want my renditions of that sort of stuff. Because, no. Has Discord actually met Idle yet? I don't remember. Yes, Discord has met Idle. That was 2 chapters ago. It's still being edited. I say as I haven't actually touched the file. It's just in its raw formatting right now. You're expanding into untapped markets. I mean, someone has to collect all the money from those suspiciously wealthy furries. I mean, you have to keep the economy flowing like that. But no, I'm not that great of an artist to garner that much attention for those kinds of works. Also, actually, I don't want to draw those kinds of things. Mainly because I'm confused by them. I have no such desire of those things. And last part. And at some point, creating clouds of the aether had apparently been interminably. At some point, creating clouds of the aether had apparently become interminably boring, and thus the inventory of the local candy shops had been altered. Floating clouds of cotton candy had simply drifted down onto whatever happened to be the least easily cleaned thing. Lucky bastard. What are you talking about? What do you mean? Simply drifted down onto whatever happened to be the least easily cleaned. Okay. At some point, creating clouds of the aether had apparently become interminably boring, and thus the inventory of the local candy shops had been altered. Floating clouds of cotton candy had simply drifted down onto whatever happened to be the least easily cleaned thing sticking out of the ground in the vicinity, be it tree, roof, or telescope. Clouds of aerosolized chewed gum became exceptionally messy, and the vast downpour that had been intended to cleanse. Oh, why can't I hear? Why can't I hear me talking in this? It says I should be talking. It says it's sending it somewhere. Where are you sending it? I don't care about refresh rate. Where are you sending my output? This is a bit interesting. 10 seconds audio. Recording. Yeah, my microphone. Microphone. Okay. So then why can't I hear you? I briefly lost the ability to hear anything over the downpour of rain in my game. Hopefully I didn't miss much. No, you didn't miss anything. I'm confused why I can't hear my audio. I don't know why I can't hear my audio. Because it's at 100%. Is this something to do with the mixer? Output. Let's go with this. Input. Also this. Is this gonna fix it? No. What? Huh? Why? Thing is what? Take 5. No. I refuse. There we go. Haha! I don't know what I did, but it fixed it. And the vast downpour that had been intended to clean exceptionally messy. And the vast downpour that had been intended to cleanse Canterlot had made some sections miserably sticky. Even I was growing tired of the saccharine smell. I might. Ugh, gum is the worst. I hate that smell. It's like he knew. Gosh, my audio's picking. I might. Ugh, gum is the worst. I hate that smell. It's like he knew. I doubt he intended any one pony to be specifically bothered. Bold grunted, rolling a boulder of dried sugar and street debris. Bold grunted, rolling a boulder of dried sugar and street debris past. Your local FBI agent had to use the restroom, so he muted your audio until he got back. So true. Don't mind her. Don't mind her. Her parents thought that gum is the embodiment of everything wrong with youth. She also doesn't like jazz. Wispy flustered. Look, it's rude to talk while eating, so why isn't it rude to chew gum? It makes sense, and I like jazz just fine. Sure thing, Sugar Sis. I paused, looking at both. Each seemed abashed by the pet name. Wispy, trying to hide it with a long drink from a flask full of lizard-infused lemon juice, or some such health nonsense. I paused, looking at both. Each seemed abashed by the pet name. Wispy trying to hide it with a long drink from a flask full of lizard-infused lemon juice, or some such health nonsense that she swore by, while Bold merely flushed and continued rolling his chunk of defiled road candy. Am I still to pretend that I do not suspect what the two of you... Am I still to pretend I do not suspect what the two of you got up to in Prance with Cadence and Shining? Wispy choked on her lizard aid. I mean they kept us busy. I mean they kept us busy. Shame then. I am told Prance is a very romantic place, but to hear you tell it, the two of you are still single. It is beyond belief that a 3-day trip could be so busy that the two of you had not a single moment to yourselves. 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 It is beyond. It is beyond belief that a 3-day trip could be so busy that the two of you had not a single moment to yourselves. Well, I mean, that is technically. And that prance would have been a phenomenal. And that prance would have been a phenomenal place to be married in secret. Bold's eyes widened, and Wispy seemed to be trying to consume her entire flask. We'd never. And knowing Cadence, she would be delightful. And knowing Cadence, she would be. And knowing Cadence, she would delightfully suggest marrying the two of you at. And knowing Cadence, she would delightfully suggest marrying the two of you as a joke, which, with Shining as a witness, would actually be legally binding. And there went the rest of Wispy's beverage. What? Shining wasn't even there. What? Shining wasn't even there. I cocked an eye. Shining left the princess completely alone? How unlike him. Bolt's jaw dropped. I almost made it through this entire exchange. Bolt's jaw fell open. I knew it. Bolt's jaw fell open. Bolt's jaw fell open. I knew it. The horns do make you evil. She married us. You just can't go around marrying people. Of course she didn't. I mean, there'd have to be a ceremony. Slowly I nodded, giving that all the consideration it deserved. Of course, you must be right. Of course, you must be right. She wouldn't have suggested that you assist her in practicing marrying ponies. Surely ponies cannot simply elope to Las Pegasus. It must be a very elaborate affair, I continued, nodding with growing emphasis. Now we deduct 10 points from Gryffindor. She set us up. The nerve. Wait, Hooves, how did you know? I am privy to more plots than I could ever wish to be. A pause. Allow me to rephrase that. A pause. Allow me to reflect. A pause. A pause. A pause. Allow me to rephrase that. Wispy grinned, looking just a bit green as she tried to redirect the conversation. No, that sounds right. Sounds like half the mayors and the guards threw themselves at you while we were gone. It was not like that, I countered, trying to do the math. Considerably less than half, I decided. It was only the mayors on shift or in the castle who flocked to the throne room. Whether to protect or be protected, I cannot say, but I have avoided the conversation, and it was not like you to suggest. And it was not like you to suggest, and we were not supposed to discuss the matter. And that's pretty much why everyone who works in the castle knows about it. And that's why pretty much everyone who works on the castle knows about it, to be fair. It sounded to me like you were living like a king. All you needed was a crown, or some kind of toga and some laurels. Bold lifted his hooves up around his head, mimicking the sort of half-crown I had seen before in depictions of ancient equestrians. Bold lifted his hooves up around his head, mimicking the sort of half-crown I had seen before in depictions of ancient equestrians. And that did explain why the drapes in the throne room were down in my confused recollections. Order, that fabric was not meant to be worn. It was even. And that did explain why the drapes in the throne rooms were down in my confused recollections. Order, that fabric was not meant to be worn. It wasn't even meant to be moved, really. I believe the crown fits where it lies at the moment. No, no kiddin'. That's probably why Discord did it. Bolt snorted, pouring some sort of grease onto his hoofs before going back to rolling his ball of wasted sugar into a wagon. Huddle's one of the only folks who never really saw any problems with Luna being back. Just another princess taking her place. So he made Idle think his place was at the top instead of somewhere near the bottom. You need confidence, Dole. I am quite confident, I assure you. I know my place in Equestria, Sergeant Big Flank. Yeah, you. Yeah, you. Yeah, you think. Oh, yeah, you think you do, but it's wrong. Ugh, voice crack. Yeah, you think you do, but it's wrong, Corporal. You're going to get promoted again soon, just so you know. I Buckenwell shouldn't be telling you of all ponies what to do, not when you're in the thick of things with gonna be captain any day now shining armor. I beg to differ. My position is minor, and that is how it should be. Sure, sure. He repeated my earlier slow head nod, and I found it exceptionally aggravating. You're just one of a handful of ponies who provides for You're you're just one of a handful of ponies who provides for Princess Luna's personal guard. You only spend more. You're you're just you're just one of a handful of ponies who provides for Princess Luna's personal guard. You only spend more time protecting her than you do at home. How are those days off coming? You're only just you're just one of You're just one of a handful of ponies who provides for Princess Luna's personal guard. You only spend more time protecting her than you do. You're just a one of You're just one of a handful of ponies who provides for Princess Luna's personal guard. You only spend more time protecting her than you do at home. How are those days off coming? I froze. Tartarus. Oh, and glad I could remember how bold and wispy sounds like. Really need to make up a character selection screen. How does this character sound like? I froze. Tartarus. Yeah, Tartarus. Oh my gosh. I froze. Tartarus. Damn it. Damn it. Tartarus. 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 There is too much to do as of late. Called it, and Princess Celestia is going to call you on it sooner or later. He shrugged. You do the crime, you get the time. Well, there's something really wrong about that phrase being used for getting promoted. Bold, there's really something wrong about that phrase being used for getting promoted, Wispy snickered. I, I grunt. I grunted. I grunted, trying to get back. I grunted, trying to get back to prying caramel. I grunted, trying to get back to prying caramel off a lamppost. I grunted, trying to get back to prying caramel off of a lamppost. Lunch break. I need something to eat that isn't going to rot my teeth. I'd kill for some hay fries with enough salt to choke on. Oh, Celestia, please tell me you're. Oh, Celestia. Oh, Celestia, please tell me you aren't eating this freaking road candy. Come on, Wispy, I'm not. Come on, Wispy, I'm not idle. Candy. I would not do that. The other two stopped, both looking at me with clear skepticism. This is far past the 10-second rule. Gross. Gross. And it's 5 seconds. Gross. And it's 5 seconds. It's no seconds. Food on the ground is disgusting. It comes from the ground. It won't hurt to be there a few more seconds. Besides, a little bit of dirt never hurt no pony. Would you would you eat something you dropped on a would you eat would you eat something you dropped on a cloud? First off, clouds are just water and magic, and they're very clean most of the time. And most stuff would fall through them anyways. It's not like clouds stick to your food. There was an absolute There was absolutely not a no there, but fine. There is sugar water on everything, and if I can't pick something up with my hooves, I have to use my mouth. Pity the poor earth pony, please. Pity the poor earth pony, please. Come now, boys, won't you shake a poor devil's hand? You get sympathy only. Pity is beneath you. However, the hay fries are on me. It is the least I can do. I motioned to one of the open air cafes. I would like to hear more of your trip to France. How is their military? A server quickly noted us, smiled, and put us in a sunny spot that looked like it had been at least modestly scrubbed. Mo- uh, have a good night, Karma. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. A server quickly noted. A server quickly noted us, smiled, and put us in a sunny spot that looked like it had been at least modestly scrubbed free of the dregs of Discord's holiday. It's not like we're going to go to We're not going to go to war with Prince Idol. Most folks would just want to hear about the sights. Give me a sec to wash my hooves. The bulky stallion ambled off. One can One can never be too well prepared, and I have seen photographs. It seems very French. Wispy nodded, bemused. Suppose it's Suppose it's French whether it seem Suppose it's French whether it seems to be or not. If it's in France, right? Suppose it's French. Suppose it's French whether it seems to be or not, if it's in France, right? She cleared her throat, and I felt a spike of nervousness from the normally confident Pegasus. She leaned in. Oop. She leaned in very close and murmured, "You are joking about the marriage thing, right?" I slowly I slowly tilted my head. Would I do that? Wispy groaned as a mare strode up. Wispy groaned as a mare strode up to us with a vase, quickly turning towards her. Wispy groaned as a mare strode up to us with a vase, quickly turning towards her. Oh, thank Harmony, a distraction. Oh, thank Harmony for a distraction. Oh, thank. Oh, thank Harmony, a distraction. Can we get Hoarder? Oh, thank Harmony, a distraction. Can we get 3 orders of hay? And then the mare dumped the vase full of not entirely fresh flower water on my head. Startled and more than a little displeased, I sucked in a very unpleasant quagmire of emotion from the mare. Misery, righteous anger, despair. I had become entirely too familiar with this over the past few days. All right then, whose would you be? The mare faltered. Wait, what? Whose lover are you? I took a deep breath, sorting the emotions and various memories. Mare, pink coat, red mane, almost too dark, perhaps a little bit of black dye in it. Eyes puffy. No, not lover. No, not lover. Ugh. No, not lover. Fiance, you must be Ironsides. No, not lover. Fiance, you must be Ironsides. The anger slipped, turned to fear, suspicion. How do you know that Allie? My assumption was accurate. Iron allium, or Ironsides to her fellow. My assumption was accurate. Iron allium, or Ironsides to her fellow guards, was one of a number of mares who were avoiding me. For all her bluster and the strict persona she had adopted, the older mare was soft at heart. Ironsides gets sappy the moment she touches liquor. She is quite taken with you, told anyone who would listen about how romantic your hearts and hooves day present was. Not that she told us what it was, so I imagine it must have been quite private, I informed her blithely. Wispy's head jerked to stare at one of us, then the other, as she seemed to. Wispy's head jerked to stare at one of us, then the other, as she seemed content not to interject. I simply waited. If you knew all that, why would you. Stop. I. Stop. I did nothing. Iron allium did nothing. Whatever you may fear, happened between us. If you knew all that, why. Stop. Stop. I did nothing. Iron allium did nothing. Whatever you may fear happened between us was nothing. It meant nothing. I care no more for her than I care for any other guard. I was growing tired of assuring various lovers that I meant no threat to them. I was growing tired of assuring various lovers that I was no threat to them. Talk to her and deal with this. I assure. Talk to her and deal with this. I assume you are quite capable. Talk to her and deal with this. I assume you are quite capable of doing just that. But you. No, But you. She won't talk to me. The impotent fury. But you. She won't talk to me. The impotent fury, the fear that she was failing her lover somehow. I was so tired of it, this mix of emotion combined with the gray atmosphere of Canterlot following Discord's reign. She wasn't even the first today. Sometimes it took a storm to clear the clouds. Then perhaps you are not mare enough for her. Perhaps I am her type. Then perhaps you are not mare enough for her. Perhaps I am her type, and I will take her from you. It is not like you can stop me. And then I wrenched on her emotions, focusing on the anger. I had done something like this before, years back, and had been hesitant to do it again. The things one does The things one does for the greater good. The thi- the things one's the things one does for the greater good. The mare full on slapped me across the face, and I let go of her anger as I fell from my chair. She blinked, shocked at her own fury, then stared at her own hoof in absolute order. The mare full on slapped me across the face, and I let go of her anger as I fell from my chair. She blinked, shocked at her own fury, then stared at her own hoof in absolute horror. Order helped me. Ironsides would have then stared at her own then stared at her own hoof in absolute horror. Order helped me. Ironsides would have to teach her Order helped me. Order helped me. Ironsides would have to teach that one to throw a real punch. It barely stung, but I rubbed at my cheek regardless. Do you feel better now? No, not really. I am just glad you hit me. I'm just glad you hit me and not Allium. I believe I would have been spitting teeth if I said something like that about you, but you are willing to fight for her. Are you going to let a mere god stand between you? At her raised eyebrow At her raised eyebrow I clarified. Discord. I really started At her raised eyebrow I clarified. Discord. I already stated. Discord. I already Discord. I have already stated that I have no intention in being in your way and have no claim to divinity that I am aware of. Anger, forcibly spent. She seemed lost. I shouldn't have hit you. Anger, forcibly spent. Anger forcibly spent, she seemed lost. I I shouldn't have hit you. Lingering effects of external influence, I told her smoothly. Forgiven, forgotten, Wispy, witness me in this? Hoofs, I don't even know what the buck is going on. Sure, I'll attest to putting this out of my mind as fast as I can. The important thing is that you were willing to fight a member of the Royal Guard, in public, for your lover's honor. You will get through this. You deserve each other. And as I have said, she is quite taken with you. Um, I'll, go get your head. Go get your hay fries. And ice, please, if you don't mind. I tapped my cheek lightly and feigned a bit of swelling on my disguise. The mare flushed and fled. Moments later, Bold sat down beside us, looking from me to Wispy, then frowning as he gave a sniff. Did I miss something? Oh, that's not Bold. God, Bold, get back into the recording booth. Wait, you said don't? That's a do not? You missed a. Hold on. Where? Hold on. Do not. Uh, where? Is it all the way back up here? This is coming in very late. What do you mean I missed a U? Now I have to listen to myself. Let's see. With the ice? That's it. Sat down beside us. Mare flushed and fled. And ice, please, if you don't mind. Your hay fries. And ice, please, if you do not mind. I tapped my cheek lightly and feigned a bit of swelling on my disguise. The mare flushed and fled. Oh, go get your. Yep, I have to. Yep, thank you for catching that. I'll, go get you. I'll, go get you your hay fries. And ice, please. Jim. And ice, please, if you do not mind. And ice, please, if you do not mind. I tapped my cheek lightly. Hay fries. And ice, please, if you do not mind. I tapped my cheek lightly and feigned a bit of swelling on my disguise. The mare flushed and fled. Moments later, Bolt sat down beside us. Looking from me to Wispy, then frowning as he gave a sniff. Did I miss something? Hooves, are you wearing cologne? I jerked to the other side of the table, putting it between myself and the far larger stallion. Order forbid, Bolt, I have made absolutely no moves on your wife. Wispy burst into laughter, bordering on hysterical. Yes, I got the Ewan. I got the Ewan. I backtracked so far. And you had Idol say, if you don't mind. If you, yeah. If if you do not mind. Wait, did I do it again? Moments later. Nope. And ice, please, if you do not mind. Yep, nope, I got it. Yay! This idle ploy is always so good. Order forbid, Bold. Order forbid, Bold. I've absolutely made no moves. Order forbid, Bold. I have made absolutely no moves on your wife. It's a good one. His ploy of getting them to believe they're married to each other is always hysterical. You bastard. Yep, the gaslight is strong with this one. Princess Luna Princess Luna spat her thermometer onto a tray, continuing to arrange her bizarre construction of glass and mirrors. We aren't fine, Corporal Hooves. We simply had a bad reaction to our medicine. In our day, we chewed willow bark for aches and pains and. Yes, Your Majesty. We note that you are without shield today. The lunar diarch sighed, allowing me to sidetrack her. Our physician has allowed us to. Our physician. Our physician has allowed us. Our dephys. Our physician has decided to allow us the benefit of the doubt. If discord busting in like an arrow through a soap bubble was not enough to do us in, surely we are able to survive the vast horrors of the world beyond the tower. To my skeptical look, she mumbled. To my skeptical look, she amended. To the confines of the castle with minimal direct contact. Yep, it's so very him. No lies, just letting them take what he says and extrapolate it to the logical extreme. Yep. Idle is just like the Fae. Just you just have to be careful if he asks for your attention that you do not say yes. You might become ADHD. Minimal direct contact. To the confines of the castle with minimal direct contact. At my firm nod, she gave me a piteous look. Epitus?
Piteous.
It is piteous. I knew it! I knew it. I shouldn't have double guessed myself. Direct contact. At my firm nod, she gave me a piteous look. Surely you do not believe that we would impose upon your honor by making you complicit in our escape from these marble walls? I mean, I don't have any for him to take, and it's very fitting that Changeling out of their depths return to their roots. Yep. May I have your attention, please? Yeah? What's going on? What's up? And that's how they began the campaign of ADHD and D. Of course not, Your Highness, as I believe it would be the Pegasus patrolling the grounds to have greater chance of preventing your escape into the world at large. She grinned, looking through a telescope, then framing her hooves around the moon. We have heard tell that the lack of flight has never stopped you from pursuit. It was one time. The bridge was not that high, no more than 6 stories. I stabilized a chunk of curved glass with faintly shimmering runes with some concern. I was not entirely sure what... I was not entirely sure I should be touching it in the first place. A scoff, but a fond one. Besides, we have evidence of your... Besides, we have evidence... Besides, we have had evidence of our recovery. With that, she ran a hoof through her short blue hair, tossing it, and it went strangely nebulous. Much like her elder sisters seemed to drift on a divine breeze. It lengthened, and for only an instant I could see the stars she loved so much. And then the effect faded, leaving her with a plain blue, merely phenomenally fine mane instead of an ethereal, godlike one. At her expectant look, I politely clapped and she gave a bow. As you can see, our powers return, if slowly. Our enforced rest has done it. As you can see, our powers return, if slowly. Our enforced rest has done its duty. Some of its duty, Your Highness. You are not fully returned to your glory. Our glory? Our glory? She scoffed. We were never glorious, but I do appreciate the sediment. The sediment? Ah, yes, the dirt. I do appreciate it. Our glory? Our glory? She scoffed. We were never glorious, but I do appreciate the sentiment. Sentiment. Why? Our glory? She scoffed. We were never glorious, but I do appreciate the sentiment. I can keep that up for almost an hour. Ah, no doubt due to the secret practice when you're supposed to be taking it easy. Her Her Royal Highness bit her lip and didn't meet my eyes. Potentially. We may have overdone it, which may have led to us feeling poorly. The sentimental sentiments return. I love that one of your most common mispronunciations just refused to leave. Hey, my brain can read faster than my lips, and my lips just love to do everything not right. Also, sentiments are such a very odd word for my accent to pronounce because typically I my regional dialect doesn't allow for T's in the middle of words unless for a specific use case. But like if you go here and say, "Can I get some water?" it would just sound so weird to locals. No, it's water. You want some water? We got plenty of that, especially in the winter. Go on up to the town of Clinton or maybe Layton. Get yourself some good old butter. Like, T's just don't get pronounced here. Even our beloved mountains don't get the T's in them. So sentiment does not. Great sentiment. You almost have to say it with a British accent here, because you just can't get that anywhere else. The only word that has a T in it that we actually pronounce is Utah, but that's because it's a very hard T. My granddad was terrible about the pronunciations of water. Did he say water? Water. Water. I gave her a stern look, but relented. I shall not tell your sister if you do not, and if she does not specifically request it of me. Thy loyalty and candor are most refreshing, Luna assured me. We Luna assured me. We shall not abuse such faith. We shall not abuse such faith. You are doing it again. The water. At least it's not water. Do you want some water? A stomp of a hoof threatened to undo an hour's worth of fastidious. Need more water. A stomp of a hoof threatened to undo an hour's worth of fastidious work. Damnation and vexation. It was one thing to slip when I was not well, and now that I'm trying to ensure I speak properly, I find myself adhering to a standard that exists no longer. Damnation and vexation. It was one thing to slip when I was not well, and now that I am trying to ensure I speak properly, I find myself adhering to a standard that exists no longer. I must get this right. I intend to go out amongst the people upon the next harvest festival. It is a tradition I would like to uphold, and I would like to see Ponyville again. I considered, then winced. That would be Nightmare Night, Your Highness. They have some quaint traditions for the holiday. Not even. I can't really get across how much emphasis went into that one syllable. What? It just shouts out the one and then just goes. Erp. Oh no. There we go. All the more fitting, she accepted. I am, after all, the reason for the season, I fear. Perhaps I will be better accepted for it, but I must correct these vocal faux pas before that time comes. Perhaps not. Perhaps not. Perhaps not. Not quite that bad, but pretty close, I assume, correct? She gave me a delightfully imperious look, only slightly spoiled by the fact that she meant it in jest. Explain thyself. That precisely. That precisely it is charming. You are concerned that your people will see you as out of touch and an age apart, yes? A potted mushroom that tended to have a faint green luminescence. A potted mushroom that tended to have a faint green luminescence to it was placed under a round bottom flask. I did believe that to be obvious. I did believe that to be obvious, yes? Then perhaps make it clear that you are just that. It is not you who needs to be accepting of their era, but they who must allow you to join them in theirs. You think that we, should play up our failures to adapt? Given what I have heard of young. Given what I have heard of young. Given what I've heard of young Twilight, I begin to fear maladaptation is the norm. Yes, Sister mentioned a want it, need it spell. At least she used it on a doll and not one of her friends. I truly had no response for that. I truly had no response to that. But I will consider it. Perhaps a royal Canterlot voice? Yes, that will be a fine nod to a shared tradition. A beaker was rolled under a spiraling glass tube. After a moment of inspection, Luna took the tube, inverted it, then scowled, casting it aside. Barely catching it, I looked up in time to see a near identical tube carved in the opposite direction taking its place. Oh, barely catching it. Barely catching it, I looked up to see a near identical tube curved in the opposite direction taking its place. Your Highness, might I beg to know what you are doing? Lose the ha sound. Wah! It's a water. Was your granddad Waluigi? We got to get some water. Tis a surprise. Tis a surprise. We have long wanted to thank those of you who have suffered alongside us. Weeks ago, we overheard that a truly remarkable idea from one of the Night Watch, but could not begin to imagine how such a thing was managed. But during our fever, we were struck down with inspiration. This seemed oddly This all seemed oddly familiar. Wait. More water. More more winter. Hush, I have but a... Hush, I have but a moment. Her horn glowed briefly, lanterns went out, the moon suddenly seemed brighter, closer as it drifted to finally be in fully... Hush, I have but... Hush, I have but a moment. Her horn glowed briefly, lanterns went out, the moon suddenly seemed brighter, closer as it seemed to drift to finally be fully in the path of Luna's telescope. The ethereal stars began to show in her main again, and I immediately grew more nervous as the enormous observatory telescope suddenly beamed a ray into the mass of mirrors and shaped glass. Something seemed to be congealing all around the equipment, as if the light itself was clinging to all. Something seemed to be congealing around all the equipment, as if the light itself was clinging to it all, and leaving some sort of gelatinous glow. To my growing disquiet, it all oozed down into carefully placed beakers. The green mushrooms burst into flame, very similar to that of changeling magic at Luna's cheerful nod. And as soon as the strange substances began to bubble, the various tubes being piped off, splitting... Hey Z, welcome to the stream. We are surprisingly far. We are almost done with this chapter, and we are over time, but hey, if I can make it twofer, 2 weeks in a row with me recording both chapters in a week, I'll be greatly surprised. Is it 2 weeks in a row? I can't remember most of last week. I'm pretty sure I did stuff last week. But now that I think back to last week, I'm not entirely sure. If it was 2 weeks ago, that's even weirder. Because it feels like because if that's the case, last week didn't happen at all. It was all my imagination. And as soon as the strange substances began to bubble, the various tubes being piped off, splitting out into several prismatic varieties, before receiving other strange treatments around the room, and finally coming back to merge together and drip down the spiral glass pipe it. And finally coming back together. And finally coming back to merge together and drip down into the spiral. And finally coming back to merge together and drip down the spiral glass piping. And finally coming back to merge together, and finally coming back to merge together and drip down the spiral glass piping the princess had just installed. With a faint ringing, each individual droplet struck the final fluted beaker. It was not merely tone, it was music. Haunting, beautiful, much like the strange sound of the bowl player's instrument. Finishing only with the last faintly glowing drop struck the surface. Finishing only with the last faintly glowing drop struck the surface. Finishing only with the... Finishing only with, or finishing only when the last... I feel like when sounds better here. It's so good to be back. Finishing only when the last faintly glowing drop struck the surface. Finishing only when the last faintly glowing drop struck the surface. leaving a hollowness to the room like an echo of leaving a hollowness to the room like the echo of a droplet from a stalactite to a leaving a hollowness to the room like the echo of a droplet leaving a hollowness to the room like the echo of a droplet from a stalactite to a cavernous lake. Gosh, cavernous, why are you so difficult? Leaving a hollowness to the room. Leaving a hollowness to the room like the echo of a droplet from a stalactite to a leaving a hollowness to the room like the echo of a droplet from the leaving a hollowness to, I bumped the microphone. Leaving a hollowness to the room like the echo of a droplet from a stalactite to a cavernous canaverous leaving a hollowness to the room like the echo of a droplet from a stalactite to a canaverous. Why am I trying to say canaverous? God. From a stalactite to a cavernous. From a stalactite to a cavernous lake. Leaving a hollowness to the room like the echo of a droplet from a stalactite to a cavernous lake. When it was all done, I sat in stupefied silence, stunned at the intensity of the moment. That was lovely, Your Highness. I am honored. That was not the reward, though the process was far more pleasant than I had expected. She scooped up the container as though it were a chalice. This is my thanks. She flushed. She flushed slightly. We are led to believe that many in the royal guard partake in moonshine. While we know little of such things, nor how it was managed in the past, we felt that it would be done by we felt that if it could be done by other ponies, surely we, the Princess of the Moon, could manage a far superior variety. With that, she passed it along to me. Dear Order, the princess had turned literal moonlight into liquid and distilled it. My mind reeled. Not only could I not comprehend that this had been possible, I was entirely sure that I was not supposed to drink such a thing. I began to formulate the words. I began to formulate the words, looked to her again, and fell silent at her hopeful, nervous expression. I would rather die than dissuade her, let alone correct this entire misconception. And with that, I toasted her. Uh, and with that, I toasted her, then took a long drink from the ethereal beverage. I'm about to get fucked up. Let's go. But I'll have to wait till next time on Dragon Ball Z. Oh man. Thanks y'all for everyone that could stick around and everyone that joined us on tonight. Gosh, this went on far longer than I intended to. Idle going Super Saiyan. Well, once you have all your limits unlocked, you can only really go Super Saiyan at that point, right? Gosh, could you imagine Idle with the super long dark hair, or the super long hair that comes with being Saiyan? Because the more Super Saiyan you are, the more hair you get. And then Idle just being completely baffled by, why is there a mane on my natural form? Oh, you bastard! I thought featuring was the Cliffhanger King. Gosh, Idle with just a massive head fin. It's like, it's very inconvenient to do this indoors. I have to duck down to pass between the rooms. Oh man, he'd look like a savage dragon. Oh man, well, oh, that was Changing of the Guard, Chapter 53, In the Still of the Night. And while V is the Cliffhanger King, I inherit the Cliffhanger King title because I get to inherit all his cliffhangers. And I can make it even more cliffhangery. There's a character in Dragon Ball called Savage Dragon. Gosh, I'm really behind on my anime. I mean, I'm not surprised because I don't really watch anime, but that's besides the point. Not a savage dragon, the savage dragon. Oh, it's not Dragon Ball. Gotcha. Nah, his head fin would have to be more massive than that if he's going Super Saiyan like 4. It's a character from a series called Savage Dragon. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Gosh, what did you send me? What did you send me, Karma? My husband tries to speak without a southern accent. Wispy and bold. Hold on. No, I have to hear this.
It's recording now.
All right. So this is to see what I sound like with an accent, without an accent. Am I starting with an accent first?
Yeah.
Like just talking normal.
Just
right?
talking normal. Just
the dog licked the oil and everyone laughed.
Okay, now say it without an accent.
The dog licked the
Oil. Not oil, it's oil.
Oh, the old. That reminds me of this a video I watched ages ago where it was like test which accent you had, or an accent test, and it's just like say this sentence, and it was Aaron earned an iron urn, and this guy had such a thick accent. I can't remember which part he was where he was from, but he just says like iron iron or it was iron. Do we really sound like that? Iron. Idle takes a small knock to his head and winds up with a random accent. I mean, it could be possible. Although he does say it has been said in an earlier part of the story that Idle does have a slight accent that he is not aware of, and I assume it's a similar, or it's somewhat close to like a Saddle Arabian slight lilt to it. I'm not sure. I don't ever think it's been confirmed or brought up since then. Oh my gosh, I just realized I haven't saved this whole time. Gosh, that would have been disastrous. gosh, say 7 more times. Oh, vaguely Arabian. Arabian night, like Arabian days. Oh, I just thought of something. We're always having Idol in these weird situations. How would Idol react to being uh, in Indigo Park? I honestly, I think he would appreciate Rambly trying his best to make the guest experience as good as possible, even though the park's been abandoned all those years. Fun fact: the merchant at the very beginning is implied to be the genie. Oh yeah, 100%. And Zamer's cavern was a huge part of it. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that's so true. So now, gosh, thankfully I didn't know this when I first started talking for Idol, so you can't hear his Arabian accent, his saddle Arabian accent at all. Whew, because I don't think I would be able to do a saddle Arabian accent. it was revealed in one of the theatrical releases. Oh, gosh, I'll have to rewatch them because I don't remember it ever being in, especially if it was in one of the sequels. Back in the day when Disney did fun stuff, some theatrical releases were slightly different. Gosh, that seems like it would turn out. That's really fun, but also it would have everyone argue which was the real version of the movie. It actually reminds me of that blog post of becoming a world famous author, uh, write a write a well beloved series, write 3 different versions of of the last book. Have everyone argue about which version they were getting, and then come clean and say and tell them that you had written 4 variations of the book, and then watch madness descend. I haven't watched the Clue movie. It, or if I have, it's been way too long. It just happened to have, yeah, he happened to have a lamp. He had 4 fingers. Wasn't he also like voiced by Robin, or no, he wasn't voiced by Robin Williams, but uh, something about his VA being changed. I can't remember. But anyway, it's been fun, y'all. But it has been a long stream. Has been having changes in the second movie. Well, I know the genie's VA changed in the second movie to what my brother insists sounds like Homer Simpson. Which some of his lines I can definitely see it. I don't know if the same VA was used for both the genie and Homer Simpson, but it sounds similar. But no, I was talking about the VA for the merchant versus uh the genie. I can't remember if they did like at one point the merchant talks, but it's Robin Williams' voice coming out. Oh, it was. Yeah. Oh, so it was Homer's VA. Gosh, it's been a while since I watched any of Disney stuff, which makes me really want to watch a few good ones because there's been a lot of movies that are making a resurgence on shorts, and one of them is Atlantis. So now I kind of want to watch Atlantis: The Lost Empire. Oh yeah, Robin Williams was furious over the genie. Yeah, from what I remember from that, it was he would only play the genie if they never made it a big deal that it was played by Robin Williams, that or if he wasn't part of the marketing. And then they put him as part of the marketing, so he was pissed, didn't come back for 2, and then Disney basically had to beg him to come back for 3. He didn't want to start a trend of celebrity voice actors. I mean, it was going to happen that way no matter how you string it because everyone loves their celebrities. Which I don't get, especially like the thing that I don't like the most about celebrity voice actors is especially when they change the voice actor between the main show and the movie. It's like you already have a wildly successful show to have that has these VAs. Why change them up for the theatrical release? Because then now no one's going to. Because now everyone's just who loves the show is going to be confused, and anyone who finds the show through the movie will be confused. That's not the voice that they heard during the movie. Because movie stars make more money. I mean, that might be fair, but for a lot of people, uh, they don't care about the voice actor. They just uh, it's thankfully starting a trend now where people are more noticing of they don't care who the actor is. They just want a good story out of their movie. They bring in money, they cost money. Oh, 100% they cost money. But, like, wasn't it the case that Peter New was changed, was replaced by a VA for um, the Ninjago movie? And he originally played the red guy? I can't remember. This is all stuff that I'm remembering from years ago. Johnny Depp will never be in a TV show because the budget doesn't allow for it. Johnny Depp probably could be in a TV show. It would just have to be something that he is very passionate about, that he won't really care about making money off of it. You'd have to slum it. Well, I mean, look at what was that one movie that came out recently where it was Scarlett Johansson. She got paid like millions of dollars to be in the Black Widow movie, and then uh, there was this other director that was like, "Hey, do you want to be in this movie?" And she did it for like $100,000 because she loved because everyone loves working with this director. And it's like that's kind of the how it would have to go, is that if you want people to work for less of you, you just have to treat them well. And yeah, granted, sometimes that costs money, but not all the time. Some people will be like, yeah, I'll work for a lot of money on this project because I'm not really into it, and they just want the star power. But this project I'm super into, that I super want to be in, yeah, I'll take like 100 grand for it. It's easy to take the movie role from them. Yeah, I'm just really glad that they didn't do that with the main 6 for the MLP movies. As far as I'm aware, both of the MLP movies, like they had the main 6, they had the VAs redo or reprise their roles in both movies, and it was only the main cast of the new generation that got replaced. And from what I heard, it's only because the studio messed up and didn't like book them for the series, so they couldn't get them again. Honestly, Gargoyle series was a fantastic example of voice actors, TV actors working together. Oh, that's awesome. 90% of the cast was from Star Trek. Gosh, that makes me want to watch Gargoyles. I've never seen the show, and I've heard it's fantastic. Oh, gosh, it's already 1. Oh, man. The day's just flying by, isn't it? But anyway, thanks for stopping by for story time and all that. I will see if I can get these edited at some point. Who knows? My next, the next time I have a free Saturday is not for a couple of weeks. Might do a, might do a 4th of July live stream. I actually just found out yesterday that I get 4th of July off, or I could work it as a volunteer. I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Just because you're done reading doesn't mean we're done distracting you. Y'all were not doing a good job while I was reading, though, weren't you? We've already seen Idol running into a pony that looks exactly like him. He would just say, take me off and find your own find your own stuff." Gosh, if it was actually a real pony that happened to look like Idol, he would be so confused. He's like, "No, this is I had this first. Stop copying me. I had this form first." You were reading good for once. It would hey now. You don't need to call me out like that. And I'm glad I finally figured out a good enough drawl for Bolt that doesn't require too much thinking. Anyway, I shall see you hopefully next week, knock on wood and all that. But yeah, y'all have a great rest of your day. Catch you later. Bye.